Test. Okay. Hello, how are we? Sorry, I know it sounds really stupid. I'm watching myself at the minute because I'm trying to make sure the sound's alright. Yeah, that sounds bad. Okay. That'll do. Okay, let me move this to over there. If I do that. Audio's good. Lovely, lovely. Sorry, I'm literally like, I thought I'd had time to go to the gym this morning before this, and well, I didn't. So I've kind of had to rush a little bit, and I'm somewhat still setting things up. Let me do that. Just put that out of the way because there's a streak that's bugging me. I've set to manual focus as well, so that should stop it from being a pain. Right, we'll start in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. How is everyone? How has their weekend been? If anyone hasn't already submitted any pictures for this, you still can. Yeah, good. I have a boat shoot tomorrow and on Wednesday. You know, I've done a boat once and I hated it. It was one of those things I did it. I was like, I didn't realize I'd get seasick until I went on the boat, and I was like, that's when I found out I get seasick. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But yeah, go on the boat and then discovered that I can't do boats. So I was there like taking photos, trying not to throw up. Why is that timer not? I'm going to have to make things a bit smaller. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're all right then. Let me just move this. All right. I might have to make that smaller. I posted the pic on your recent vid. I need to follow the instructions on the video, mate. You need to. It needs to be emailed to me because I can't pull pictures off TikTok comments in any decent quality, like enough to be editing them. Which nice looking sick. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Finally, I've done it before, but I just kept running into issues and kept like getting annoyed and shutting the shop down. So I thought, now I'm doing the lives and stuff, I figured I'll actually like maybe do a bit more this time. But yeah, I've got a few more things planned for that. So obviously we got the exposure doesn't pay the bills one. What does email say? Yeah, I'm just sorting that out now, mate. I'm bear with. I'll make it smaller. It's annoying because like the aspect ratio that TikTok Studio is giving me is different to my phone for a start, which is a bit annoying. Let me change that picture. What's that been? Okay, let me put a new. Can I put a new image in? Is that possible? Will let me do that while I'm on live? Yes, it will. Okay, let me crop that out because it's driving me nuts. If I drop that down, okay, that's a bit clearer. Okay, so look. Hello, R32 Josh. I'll get them now and I'll add them into the mix. I can't guarantee I'll get to them, obviously, but I will put them in the mix. Why is that being? Oh, right, that's why. R32 Josh, send them as attachments because I've been declined access to all of them apart from the one of the M2. I've got the one of the M2, so I'll put that in there. In the middle BMW, I think it's me. Okay, yeah, don't worry. It's himself. It is indeed. It is indeed. I tried OBS Studio. I'm not a fan. I tried it and like it failed. Like I set everything up, like followed about 20 tutorials because I was like, it can't be this easy to set up. And then I set it all up and yeah, it went wrong. Just kept like, I tried going live on Instagram through and it just kept disconnecting. Facebook was the same as well. YouTube was a bit janky, so I might just have to, yeah, into best OBS. It seems like a really, I'm not gonna lie, it seems sketchy. Like, I couldn't understand why I needed so many, like it wanted me to, like all the tutorials were saying I needed to plug this in, plug that in, plug this in, plug that in. And I was like, surely OBS Studio should one, have all this involved, like all this should already be in there. And then it was like, yeah, I actually, standalone, I actually can't see the benefits of OBS Studio at all. I don't really see what the point of it is, because if you want a multi-stream, you have to get these plugins anyway. So I'm sort of like, well, why don't the companies that are making the plugins just make a streaming software? Weirdly unoptimized for what it's meant to do. Yeah, 100%. I think that's the best way to describe it. It is very, yeah, it's just not very well put together for something like for what it's meant to do. Where are we at? What time is it? 10 to. Let's put that in. How was your weekend anyway? How's that been? Have I missed out? No, I've not even started yet, mate. If you want to drop photos in, you can. Oh, why has that done that now? Oh, what a pain. Oh, I've made a mess of this. I know what I'll do. From Lightroom. I'm just going to remove everything from Lightroom a minute. No, I'm not. I'm going to re-import everything. I forgot about my Facebook page a lot week last week. Yeah, to be honest, I kind of like, all I do with my Facebook really is just repost Instagram on it. That's kind of all I do with it. Right, what was I doing? Okay, so just trying to figure out how to do this now. While if people start submitting during the live, Facebook was becoming the land of the dead. Yeah, Facebook's a weird one. I find Facebook really odd, like in terms of like getting work through it and stuff. Okay, so that's the live folder in there. So let's put that back in there. Okay, so that's in there. Who else has just sent one? Why is this being a pain now? Right. Okay, let me have a look. Right, I've put on full screen, that's why that was not working. Right, sorry, I was looking at someone else a minute. Oh, Facebook's coming land of the dead, yeah. Low-key, you're the longest I've supported someone without disappearing. What, me disappearing or you disappearing? Great for showcasing collections. Yeah, it's pretty good for that, like in all fairness, it is pretty good for that. So I do shoot for a client. What should I use to get the image across? I use Pixieset. I'm genuine, I'm not plugging this for the sake of plugging it. Like Pixieset is genuinely really, really good for that. Just gonna have to remove all these from Lightroom, I think. Just have a clean slate there. Also, that Nifty 50 feels like a cheat code. Oh, mate, honestly, it is. Like, it is legitimately one of the best bang for buck lenses you will ever have. Like, it is insanely good for for the money. Nearly forgot it was Mother's Day today. Yeah, I forgot it was Mother's Day today as well. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have scheduled this on Mother's Day. But, you know. Right, I'm gonna... Okay, now that's clear, I can import these in. Right, let me import those. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to... Basically, one person's asked very nicely that I take the plate out prior, which is what I've done. So I'm just trying not to put that one back in with the plate on. Took a few shots on an Actimel bottle quickly. What camera do you use? Canon R6 is what I use. Been my trusted workhorse for God knows how long now. Good few years, but it's never let me down. Touch wood. Never had a problem with it. Okay, that can go. Let me put that in there. Let's set that to all photos. Yeah, we'll start in about 2-3 minutes. We'll get cracking. Can everyone see the Lightroom screen okay? Because like I've got it on my phone, it looks a bit crap, I'm not gonna lie. It's weird, like I was saying just now, like the aspect ratio on TikTok Studio, literally like it doesn't match anything, which is really annoying. Right, let me put this into develop because this is where we're gonna be sat most of the time. Yeah, move to the Lightroom is slightly too big. That's fine. But this is like how it's going to be sat for most of the time. If I just full screen this. Yeah. So that's full screen, so I can't actually move it anywhere. But let me have a look. I've got off Monsters for Lent because my big Irish head and I'm struggling. I had a Red Bull this morning, but I woke up and I didn't have any coffee in the house. What a disaster. But we have coffee now. We can see image grand, to be fair. Good. 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 We've got the 23 images in here at the minute. If people do submit stuff during the live and they want it edited during the live, they can politely pay for it and they can start submitting some gifts and stuff. I've sent them, but I don't know if it'll work. I think I grabbed yours, didn't I? We'll have a look through it. Right, that's all good, so I can get that off. Let me just sort that. Right, what time is it? 10 o'clock. We'll get started in a second. Let me just double check something, make sure. Okay, right, let's have a look then, shall we? Let's have a look what we got. What we got. Only 23, is there? No, 23 in there. Let's have a look. What shall we edit first? Let's jump on this one. Right, I don't know the names of who sent these in, so I do apologise, because obviously I can't see the names in Lightroom. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and talk you through kind of my editing process as much as possible. And if at any point anyone, you know, obviously has questions, please feel free to ask. And this will all be going up on YouTube afterwards anyway. But yeah, these will be at random, and I'm not prioritizing anyone unless they want to leave some little gifties. I'm not prioritizing anyone. But yeah, right. Now, just to clarify, I do have presets that I use, but it's not, to be honest with you, the one I mainly use is this one, but it's not built for JPEGs. But it still kind of works quite well, because to me this is kind of what suits a lot of my style of editing. Well, that was awfully blue then when I did that. And one thing you are going to learn about me is that I don't do anything fancy when it comes to certain edits. But other than what I do now, where I switch to black and white, I don't actually do anything kind of different. So I'm just going to I'm trying to find what composition this suits. Preset editor. I've got my formula of what has worked over the years for me. I don't like that. Let's go 4x5. Oh yeah, I've got my preset of what, like, I found my style, I think is the best way to describe it. And then obviously I don't religiously stick to it. Like if I feel like something doesn't fit, then I'm not going to use it. But yeah, I've got another 4x5 on that because I didn't quite like the top up there. All I do is bring out colors, lighten images and stuff. That's all I can really crop to. Does any gift skip the queue? Any gift of like, I don't know, yeah, I probably should have put a minimum really, shouldn't I? I don't know what's a good minimum. But I'm going to get rid of these poles because they're bugging me. I'm just going to do a rough generative fill on that. I'm not doing anything crazy on this at the minute. Galaxy. How much is a Galaxy worth? Because I tried to find out, but okay, I didn't know. Because if to be honest, if Galaxy is decent, then yeah, Galaxy. But yeah, no, I do have my presets in place that do help me like speed up my workflow a bit. Let me get rid of this terrain. So I'm just going to get rid of some distractions. Try not to get the car too much. Now, the one thing I have noticed with generative fill is that even if you do try to avoid certain things, it does still kind of nip them. But as long as it's not too distracting, I'm not going to go into this too much. Otherwise, like, I will literally be here for an hour doing one thing. I think we'll say like a minimum of like, I don't know, what should we say? If people want to jump the queue, what should be the minimum? Okay, that's bugging me as well. So I do switch to black and white purely just so I don't get distracted by the colouring. Oh, I didn't press enter. So I don't get distracted by the colouring. I was saying this in a previous TikTok really, was like instantly, like just let me switch out to black and white so you can see. But like instantly just cleaning up things just makes it a better picture. I'm gonna tip that on a little bit more. And then there's not like a tenner. Yeah, I think it's like a tenner, but I only get like £3.50 of it. But I think, yeah, that's probably like, I mean, I'm editing your photos for free, like. But yeah, so like I said, we're switching back through black and white. I think we'll do, someone suggests what's a minimum gift? Like what would be a minimum gift you'd be happy someone paid to jump you in the queue? I'm gonna get rid of that because that's bugging me as well. I know I did that just now, but I'm gonna do it again. There we go. Right, so that's to me is instantly looking a lot better. Give it a bit more contrast, a little bit more punch. Tenner. I think tenner's fair. I think Galaxy for 1,000 coins is fair considering you're not then charging for the edit. Yeah, I think sounds fair. Someone police the chat for me if I'm not watching and someone leaves gifts and they're like, oh, I want to skip the queue. You can tell them. You have my permission to tell them it's a Galaxy or grow up. Okay, so right now when I'm looking at this, I am looking to get the card to stand out. Want to make me a brother mod at some point. Might have to. Morning, how are we? Okay, so I want to make the sky a little bit more punchy. Just give things a little bit more mood, but without being the center of attention, if that makes sense. Make sure we're not burying anything. Oh, J, that's the one. And I think then do my little bottom mask, like I always say. Yeah, so I always tend to add masks at the bottom and the top, especially when it comes to skies and stuff, just to bring even more attention into the car. But I think the next thing I'm looking at now is trying to bring some details back down here, because that is obviously getting buried a bit. This won't stay in black and white. All I'm doing at the minute is just trying to compose, like to make the light in and the exposure sit right, if that makes sense. So let's have a look at bringing shadows up a little bit. I don't want to bring the shadows up across the entire car. I want to just bring up that lower section. Select subject, intersect with a linear gradient. And you can do this, which I can use to bring up that bottom corner a little bit. Just a little bit. So just in black and white mode now. No coloring, no anything. Well, a little bit of coloring, obviously, with the preset. But so now, look, you've seen what I've done. I've edited this in black and white. Now, to me, that doesn't look too bad in black and white. bump it a little bit. As soon as I switch this back now to color, I bet it's going to look pretty good. And I'm betting on myself here quite a lot. So this may go wrong. There we go. It's like he's done it before, innit? So now to me, just switching it back, like just going into black and white mode just to get the lighting and composition right, instantly looks a bit better. Like now it instantly looks better with the preset on top. So now we can just focus on just adjusting some color and maybe using masking, like just using different things now to just try and make things sit better. Mail don't work. It does work because everyone else has got it to work, unfortunately, right? Okay, I'm gonna look at desaturating all this kind of green that's sitting around on the car there. Subject. Let's drop the color range down so we're not desaturating the entire car. We're just desaturating what we're trying to. I think I got that color range wrong there. Let's get a bit more in. Okay. So I know this is obviously a black car, so I'm just gonna desaturate it a little bit just to get rid of that green cast on it. We're gonna start to edit. Description's literally right there. We have the chat has spoken, and it's a galaxy to skip the queue. It's not me. That is the chat that has spoken there. So yeah, being a black car, I don't want too much kind of green casting on it. Okay, those distractions aren't too bad. And then I'm gonna have a crack, see how well generative fill gets rid of that plate. Obviously this is quite noisy and the quality isn't going to be the best purely because it is a JPEG, but we're not looking at that. Why is it so grainy? It's because it's a JPEG that's come through, so the quality is just, it's not going to be there as such, but such is the world that we live in of technology. But we'll see what we can do to fix that. You know, AI is a wonderful thing. That's why I was trying to encourage people to send RAWs where possible. Update your masks. Purely just to avoid the kind of the graininess, but it's fine. Also, why has Pop Goes Punk not making new albums? Because I've just heard Bye 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 or whatever it's called, it's a banger. Right. Okay, I actually don't know if I want to do any more to this. I think in terms of what we've done there, I think other than obviously we need to, it's a good job I don't really plan on selling this preset because like, we've just given all those settings away. Yes, it does. One thing with Lightroom that I'm not sure if people have noticed yet, but it automatically puts a sharpening thing on there and like automatically adds 40 sharpening, and that instantly like makes things look grainy. But I'm going to send it, and what we're going to do, just zoom in on this light, and if you press on Mac, press Option and push this down, you basically everything in white is what it sharpens. So you can really, obviously you don't want it to be sharpening like everything, otherwise like that, like where it's going to sharpen everything. You want it to just sharpen the edges. So yeah, we're going to go 100 on that, and I might even drop the amount we sharpen it down. But if you hold Option while pressing the sharpening tools, you can kind of see how much it does. So like if you look there and then look up there, it's a bit, but being a JPEG, I'm not going mad with it. It needs to be a little bit gentle just to avoid it being painfully noisy. Obviously we're going to need a bit of noise reduction, only a little bit, but don't be afraid to mess about with settings while you're editing. Like, you know, you can always, there's always Command Z. Okay, we want to bring a bit of detail in there. Definitely be careful with this color thing as well, the color noise reduction, Command Z troops. Yeah, I think that's going to be like a t-shirt design, isn't it? Or a hat design, like Command Z. But like instantly, like in terms of noise and stuff, it does look a bit better. But yeah, I'm like looking at this now. I don't think I'd actually change anything really now. Maybe I would say that sticker, but maybe, I don't know, maybe that's got some significance to the owner. We'll do it anyway. Oh no, what have I done? See what that does. See what that does. But yeah, it's not the best, but it'll do. But yeah, so obviously, yeah, we've got rid of the distractions, got rid of the bollards, add some masking in to bring back some details, got rid of the play, sorted out some bits there. That's bugging me, so we're going to get rid of that. But yeah, like I said, I don't, like, when it comes to just like straight out of camera pictures and stuff, I'm not planning on doing too much with. I don't do a whole lot, if you know what I mean. Like I put my edit on there and kind of, yeah, like I said, I don't do a lot. I don't do a ton. I don't particularly have any special tools or special techniques. Maybe we can have a look at perhaps popping a radial mask there because that's where the light's coming from, but I don't think that's going to do too much really. You look a bit like Drew McIntyre. I don't know who that is, mate. The black and white did look good, but that's like, to me, that like it does work. That's because it's a jig. But like, this is what I was saying though about the whole like black and white editing thing. I think if you can edit in black and white and it looks good in black and white, it doesn't matter what, like you could literally go back to the standard color grade and it'll still look good. And this is like, and this, I'd be honest, why does it say address not found when I email you? Couldn't tell you, mate. To put it bluntly, everyone else has managed to do it. And I've had 25 images through. I've had emails through during this as well, so I'm not sure. I spelled it, yeah. User error, unfortunately. But yeah, this is like what I preach about the monochrome, and one of the things I want to get onto about this actually is, has anyone seen the new Spider Noir thing yet? Like, has anyone seen about it? I haven't watched it, so don't spoil it. But you can watch it in black and white and in color. And they reckon they filmed them separately, but they clearly didn't. Like, that to me is like a testament of how much, like how easily you can literally, like, if you get it right in black and white, then you can get it, like, that's how easily it goes back and forth. You can get things right in both. Now, one thing I'm going to say that where my preset does go wrong is this preset was built when I was using the mist filter, and obviously I was kind of somewhat counteracting some of the mist filter's effects by adding clarity. So I mean, to be fair though, that does actually tiny bit of clarity there, tiny bit of texture. It doesn't need to be that intense. When I was first editing, I do all my highlights and shadows in black and white. Yeah, 100%. Like this is something I will preach to the hills. Like I was saying earlier, if you can get this to look good in black and white, like focus on making it look good in black and white first, and then when you switch out of black and white, it's guaranteed it's going to look better. But yeah, I don't think I don't know. Like, can anyone see anything that I'm missing? But I wouldn't. There's nothing else I'd really change on there. Maybe go see if I can make that a little bit more. Just add a bit more mood to the whole thing. I can even go as far as bringing just a bit more in there, just to make it a bit more dramatic. But change the subject away from it. Oh, they're not having a good time at the minute, are they? Let's update that. Could maybe have a look. Perhaps adjusting this mask. Get away. Get my way. Just to have some effect down here. Even then, that's not really gonna. But no, I think, I mean, I'd be. Obviously, we are talking about, like, you could lower the highlights on the side reflections. Possibly they're not washed out. So yeah, there is some data in there. So we could see if we could. Let's see what that looks like. But yeah, I get like a lot of these I am doing quick, trying to do somewhat quickish and live. So these may not be like perfect and not necessarily how I'd put them out, but. I mean, yeah, that was a good suggestion, that was a good suggestion. Subtle, but it's nice. That was a good suggestion. I mean, maybe, look at that. Doesn't change that much, but removes the attention. Yeah, no, that's a very subtle move. And there is like a bit of a horrible reflection going on here, so we could perhaps just see how generative fill deals with that quickly. Not something I necessarily would do, but I don't particularly want to be dropping all these images into Photoshop and trying to deal with it that way. But, I mean, that's not done a bad job, to be fair, actually. I can't tell. Is that a reflection or body? Is our body line on the Jag? I don't think it is it? No. Yeah, let's get a shot of that then. That's a reflection of the concrete that was there. This is like the one tricky thing about like not taking these photos myself. Like when it comes to editing other people's photos, so like obviously sometimes you don't know the body lines, but that does look too bad. But yeah, like I think that's a solid edit. And this does look like it's been taken with a phone as well, to be completely honest. In terms of like its focal length and like a phone with the polarizer. I mean, I suppose there probably is a way I could tell, but I don't know. I'm not going to do it now. Love the videos you put out. Drop your follow. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. I do have some good videos in the works at the minute. I have recently been in touch with a magazine company to answer the question that a lot of people have and ask how to get into magazines. I do have some good info from that, so I need to just make that. But no, I've got some good stuff planned. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I think that'll be a good video to be putting out. But I mean, so like for me now, I'm trying to look at this the way that when people send me photos to rate, I'm trying to look at this now in the same way, like in terms of like from the editing point of view. I don't want to spend too much time on one picture, but yeah, I think I guess the flag of pick. I quite like how that's gone, but yeah, quite like that. Thank you to whoever sent that in. That's pretty good. But yeah, I think we're done with that. I don't want to go OTT on it, but I think we're done with that. Right, let's see what else we have got. What else have we got? There has been some good ones coming in, to be fair. I think annoyingly they've all come in as JPEG, which, you know, is what it is, but that one looks interesting. I feel like we could do something with that. Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. So let's whack the old preset. Yeah, that's way too blue. There we go. I have a sneaking suspicion this was edited prior to this. So this may not look decent, but did mine not come through as raw? Yeah, it did. Yeah, yours came through as a CR2, so a Canon RAW file. What format is best for you in regards to the photo? Just send mine through. RAW, like, yeah, definitely send it through as RAW. The JPEGs work, but they're not, the quality obviously is not ideal. Okay, so we're going to switch to black and white and just straighten that out a little bit. Make sure there's even space. Have you edited mine? No, I haven't yet, Sean. I've taken the plates out though, like you asked. You said, is it an Evo and a McLaren? And then a drifting one, isn't it? Okay. So I'm looking at here in terms of the composition. This is just a rule of thirds one. So I'm looking to just sit, obviously make sure there's even space either side, but try to get the car to sit, basically sit across one of these lines or across the, where the 2/3 lines cross down there, which that is slap bang in the middle of. Like I said, I do have my suspicion that this was edited prior to being sent to me, so I can't do too much with this. I will be honest that that highlight there is annoying, but it is a black car. So I'm going to do... Now, I'm doing a lot of things like based on experience, and I will try to talk through as much as I can. So now in black and white mode, and this is why I emphasize black and white so much, is if it's a JPEG, it probably will be edited. Yeah, I think it is. Like based off that. Might not be, but to me now looking at this, I feel like a lot of the car is getting lost amongst this. So we're going to start looking at masking, and basically the way that I tend to fix this is I try to brighten up the background, especially when it comes to black cars. So I'm looking to basically create a bit of brightness around there, if that makes sense. Maybe I need to feather that a bit more. Oh no, it's fully feathered. I'm basically looking to create some brightness there to help the car stand out. So just behind the car. So like when you've got that red look how clear that the car is. So what we're looking to do is just do the same. So like when I show it in that mode, like how much clearer the car is. So I'm just looking to try and, yeah, it is. Look at the bottom, there's a mask. Yeah, 100%. So like I said, I'm not going to go too mad on it. I'm just going to do my little, like what I would do if this was me kind of thing. So let's turn that mask off now, make sure we see how it looks. So we're losing a bit of contrast as we brighten that up. But I've got a feeling that's going to be a bit too obvious. So let's spread it out a bit just to... Now, I do have a suspicion that this here is going to get lost in that shadow. So these are just going to blend up. How long will you be live for? Until 12, I think, is going to be my cut-off. That's my bedtime. That's my lunchtime. So I think just that alone is enough to kind of help the car stand out. I'm not going to go too ham with it. And then straighten out a little bit more. So yeah, I can't promise that I'm going to get through everyone's and stuff, but I want to go through and basically pick the ones I feel like there's the most amount that I can kind of show people something. And then if this one does go well and there's a lot of demand for it, I will do another one, obviously. Like I am kind of trying different things at the minute just to see what there's demand for. Obviously, as anyone who's followed me for a while knows, like I'm fairly new to the whole live streaming thing. So I've just kind of increased the power of the mask at the bottom there, and I'm going to up the brightness and kind of highlights up here. And then I might change the tint of it afterwards, just to bring in like almost like an additional, or just to emphasize that that's where the light has come from, and to kind of almost justify this big, almost like whitewash highlight on the side there. But basically, yeah, what I'm trying to do, like, and this is why I do it in the black and white mode, is I'm trying to make it look good in black and white. Because if I can make it look good in black and white, there's a high chance it's going to look good in color. And it just makes it look a lot better. Like I always think that if it can look good in black and white, it'll look good in color. So I'm gonna darken down the mask over here just to emphasize that light source where it's coming from. So take the subject out because I don't want to darken the subject there. Okay, that's too much. Only a touch. Only a touch. There you go. Okay, so I think maybe like I'm saying, like I've not looked at any of these prior either. Like I literally downloaded them this morning. So I think the next thing to do perhaps is going to be bring up some, oh wow, the quality of that is not the best. We're going to bring up some details in the grills and stuff here just to let them stand out a little bit. Also the select object tool is amazing. Maybe reduce the highlights again. Yeah, I think that's something I'm going to jump onto. That's a good suggestion. It is like that highlight it's a lot, to be honest with you, and it's very distracting. But I think there's only going to be so much that we can save in the edit on that. But this select object tool is the best thing ever. So let's bring these up a little bit, just because there's some nice reflections in it. I think it'll help that front end stand out. Only a touch. Only a touch. I'm going to get rid of this plate because I don't think that plate looks that great there. Let's see how that behaves. Quality of the image. Yeah, it's just the JPEGs. I think because they're coming through as people send them through as JPEGs. There's not much I can do. I think even as you've done a terrible job there, Generative Fill. Sort it out. Or have I just done a terrible job picking the plate out, which I think I possibly have. Oh no, don't do that. What have I done? Oh yeah, it's getting caught on there, I think. We'll try and see if we can get this plate out. And let's have a look. Be a bit more gentle. If not, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We'll attempt to get it out, but I'm not going to got other people's photos to go through, so I don't think it's fair. We spend ages on this. How do you do the straight lines on the brush? Hold the shift button. So if you hold the shift and then click, and then the next point you click, it will do a straight line too. It's trying to build a line there, so I'm just going to leave it. No worries, Rob, not a problem. That's what this is for. quite literally the point of this live. Okay, so we're gonna, speaking of Rob, we're gonna take on Rob's suggestion, and we're gonna drop down the highlights on that side there, just to, that really needed doing. Maybe even some shadows, just to try and bring a bit of contrast back into that side. How big's the queue? There's 20 odd photos, mate. I'm at the moment, no one's jumped the queue yet, so there's about 20. I think what I'm gonna do is we're now gonna do this again, but I'm gonna do it in the opposite direction. So I'm going to try and lighten up the front of the car a bit more. I know we're doing a lot in terms of, what have I done? I know we're doing a lot in terms of black and white on this, but yeah, see you in the next live. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much. And thank you for your suggestions as well. They're good suggestions. So I'm going to try and lighten up the front of the car. Can I just duplicate this? Yeah, I'm just going to move that over just to try and do that. Okay, so we're going to flick out a black and white and we're going to see how that looks. I'm not looking at color at the moment. I'm just looking at composition, and that looks way better. He's only a little bit tism. Only a little bit, probably. We'll find out. I gifted you. No worries, mate. We will jump onto yours in a second then. Flav shoots. Have you... Yeah, I'll grab it in a sec, mate. Let me finish this one and I'll grab yours. Where'd you get business cards from at a decent rate? I just came out from Vistaprint. I'll be honest, nowhere does them at a decent rate anymore. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do too much on this, but this is definitely my argument for the black and white thing, is if you can make it look decent in black and white, in terms of like the lighting and everything on this is looking a lot better. But I'm just going to take the blue out of it, I think, because as a stylized choice, I think that's going to look pretty good. Yeah, there we go. I looked into foil printed ones, they wanted 450 quid. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing foil printing. I know you want it to stand out, but like I think just get them embossed. But okay, Flav shoots. Have you just sent it, or did you send it earlier? Yeah, not worth like. No, I just get embossed ones, to be honest with you, like glossy embossed ones. Quality is terrible on this, so I'm not going to do any any sharpening. But I think that's done. I can't really do too much more, but I do quite like how that's looking. Sent it earlier. Okay, what car? Can you see it in amongst this? What car was it? If it's not there, I will go grab it. 599 GTO. That one? Yep. Sound. Yeah, this also came through from Jordan, but that was awful quality, unfortunately. Right, let's have a looky at this then. To be fair, this is a pretty good one to use as an example. Okay, right. Do my usual. See how my preset looks on it. What about that one? No. Okay, we can work with that one. We can work with that. It's a tad blue, but that's all fixable. Okay, there's definitely going to be some, yeah, we need to do some work on this. Okay, right, into black and white mode. Is that 4x5? That's 4x5, isn't it? Oh no. Is there a preset on it? I've just put my preset on there. I do have a preset that I use as like a base edit for things. So that's this one. At the minute, it's looking a little bit yellow, but I'm more looking at highlights and shadows. So when I switch to black and white mode. So when you switch to black and white mode, you're not distracted by the colors. So you've basically got to focus on getting the highlights, the shadows, the composition, and the lighting correct. So that's why I do it in black and white. I'll be trying to pull a little bit of contrast at the foreground of the subject. Yeah, I'll be honest, these kind of coming over the front of it, they work and they don't work, but it's okay. Like we can get this worked out. But definitely need to bring those wheels up. So I'll do that now. Let's bring those wheels up, because are they matte black wheels? Is that what's going on there? That's why they're like really. Let's do a radial gradient, see how that sits. Have you made the Discord separate from the page? Not yet. It's on my list of things to do. I'll see if I can get around to that today, actually, because you have reminded me. Okay, cool rush with it. Yeah, it's just one of them, innit? My to-do list gets longer and longer every single day. I don't make it any easier on myself. I keep giving myself more things to do. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna, when my Lightroom wants to play ball, right? Okay, so try and bring the wheels up. This is the issue with black wheels, is they're so lighting dependent on things, but they're also like so important. I don't want to ramp it up too much on there. We're going to pop into black wheels. No, it's not. It's very much like you have to get it right in camera as well, which I think, unfortunately, on this occasion, I mean, that is just a lighting thing. Couldn't really have done anything about that, to be fair. Is what it is. It's all right. We'll see what we can do. So, yeah, definitely going to make that car pop a little bit more, make it more the center of the subject. So let's add a little bit of brightness to it. Is the composition good? Yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing is that the foreground is a little bit much. I feel like this grass line that's going on here would have been enough. So these bits here are just a bit too much in my opinion. But other than that, it's pretty good, to be honest with you. I think I might have gone OT on the mask. Okay, I've never tried this before, but I might have to do it. I might have to try and bring those tires down in comparison to the wheel, because to me, the tires are standing out more. So the tires are looking a bit, where's object select gone? Let's see if it can pick just the tire out for me. We'll find out. No, okay, I got an idea. If I do a radial gradient, it's only that front one that the tire's really kind of standing out on. So if we do a radial gradient, rotate it a little bit, do that, drop the feather down on it, and then subtract another radial gradient from that, just so it doesn't affect the wheels too much. There's probably an easier way to do this. If someone's screaming at me right now saying there's an easier way to do it, please tell me. But it's okay, we're gonna do it. Maybe make the tire. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what I'm on now. I'm just trying to separate the masks. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got the tire there. So we just need to. Oh yeah, that was really overexposed. How is it doing that? Okay, there we go. That's it's looking a bit better now, but we definitely need more contrast in the car. Block out the subject. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, the foreground is blocking the subject. I think other than that, I wouldn't. Okay, so that's doing the entire car. Okay, I think I see what I did there. So if I bring paint up on that, so I'm looking just to bring the white paint on the car up, so I don't bring it, basically undo everything I've just done with the wheels. Okay, so that's looking a bit better. Yeah, I tried to remove that glass, but it won't come out. Yeah, I can't see it. It's one of those, like in camera, that was something like that's something you'd have to have done in camera. I'm not gonna go editing out this car purely just for the sake of my sanity and everyone else's. That is going to take too long to do, but we can get rid of some of these. We can just chip some distractions out. Come on, play ball with me. There we go. Luckily, this is fairly basic, so it's not going to take too much to edit that out. Why is my Lightroom lagging? What's running? Does anyone else's Lightroom just randomly lag sometimes? I don't know why that's having a fit at the minute. Okay, let's get rid of those. Yeah, in camera, nothing worse, but nice shot. Yeah, 100%. It's a good shot. It is a good shot. It's just a couple of little distractions, and then there we go. Luckily, they're fairly basic. So let's get rid of that. Mine closes randomly. Yeah, mine sometimes just has fits. I've noticed as well, like if you're ever late paying your bill, it has a fit as well. Which I was a couple of times. I paid it a little bit late sometimes, and he literally used to have, like, it would I've noticed it would like deliberately run slow if you don't pay your bill and stuff. Okay, so that's a little less distracting now. That is not too bad. I think what we'll do, mine does constantly, I'm impressed your generative fill doesn't take 5 minutes. In all fairness, I think I know what it is. I think the generative fill does run off Wi-Fi, and to be fair, I do have quite fast Wi-Fi here. So if we're going to bring a mask in down here just to draw, to basically take your eyes away from that foreground. I'm going to do the same. I may make a different decision with up here, but we'll try darkening it down first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I think that's realistically all we're going to be able to do in black and white. So let me just update the masks. Go from there. S25 generative fill is impressive. To be fair, like I think it is. The smartphone stuff is pretty good now. Okay, let's take this out of black and white. Okay, so I think the yellow on this is getting a bit. The yellow is good. This is distracting, and these blades of grass are distracting. Let me have a look to see what I can do with this. So maybe if I think the whole thing just needs to be a little bit lighter, if that makes sense, like a bit lighter feeling. So I'm going to take a little bit of saturation out of the whole image, and I think I'm gonna look at bringing some highlights back. Now, if you're ever worried about your highlights clipping and things like that, press J is usually a good thing. That will show you where you've pushed highlights too far. But look, I think being a JPEG, this you can't really do it with this. Yeah. So what I'm looking here is I don't want to lose shape on the car, if that makes sense. Like being a wide car, it can be tricky, so I don't necessarily want to lose any shape on it. Okay, I think we can get away with a little less clarity and a little less vibrance. But yeah, I'm trying to just give this a bit more of a lighter, kind of airy feel on it because the car is white. Okay, so up here now is in my opinion, is the ugly bit, is all of this. So let's see what we can do. May even be a case of we turn that into kind of its light source of the image, but if I do this, so I'm gonna reduce a bit of clarity out of that because the background is fairly like textured. I'm going to try and take a bit out because I don't want that to be the center of attention. It's not something I normally do, but I think in this case I'm going to have to. And then maybe have a look at taking some orange out because that's basically what color the brickwork is, but that's also the color of the calipers, which is annoying. But that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Are you going to post on YouTube? Yeah, I'll post the full thing on YouTube. Check your DMs. I'm not taking anything from DMs, mate. They have to come on through email. I'm back. Right. Anyway, back to this. Right. Apparently the email doesn't exist. Everyone else has managed it, mate. So I've got all of the pictures that have come through now have all come through on this email, and I've had emails through, so I'm not sure what's going on with that? Like someone sent me an email on that from this 28 minutes ago. So yeah, anyway, back to this. So I think looking at this is not, maybe I'll have a little mess about with some color temperatures and stuff, but there's not a ton more I want to do without, because I think as far as like in camera goes, that foreground is the big problem. But I think that's as far as I'm going to take this. Maybe I'll take a little bit more color out that back bit perhaps, but maybe if I bring this down, take the subject out, see how that looks. I don't do that, just subtract subject. Seems like orange and teal. It is somewhat orange and teal, you're right. Okay, I think that's a bit too desaturated now. There you go. It's quite a tricky photo to get kind of the edit on, to be fair. But I don't think I'm going to do any more than that. I think anything after this is not really going to... I think it's a good picture, definitely. I think it's just this foreground is a little bit distracting, unfortunately. But it's still a good picture. Like, it's still a good picture. So yeah, you have a question, go ahead. I will get this back to you as well. What's that? Please feel free to ask any questions. What is the most important thing to master in Lightroom Classic? All of it, really. I know you mean, like, if I had to tell you to master one thing in Lightroom Classic, it would be, one, finding this black and white button, and it would literally just be focus on the basic tab first. So this tab here, just focus on using this, and like, even if you can just get that right, you'll be very surprised how far, like, the rest of your photo, like how good the rest of your photos can look. But I think the first thing is just get it. Like, a lot of people are really scared to go from Lightroom Mobile to Lightroom Classic. But they just get it, get on it, and just start playing around with basics and just getting familiar with it. And then, as Cartel Automotive has just said, masking. Masking's an incredible tool. Like, I don't know if there's a shortcut to just turn the masks off. Yeah. Like, if we turn the masks off on this, like, that's the difference. You know, it's quite a big difference. So masking's important, learning the basics, and just. So to put black and white button. The black and white button already be there, just make sure that you're using it. You sound like you're from Wales. I am from Wales. Don't live there anymore, but I am awfully Welsh. Check your email. Yeah, I've got an email through. We'll see if we get to it in this live. But how can I know that I use it correctly? So the reason the black and white, for me, what I use the black and white button for is, like I showed you earlier, it's just to make sure that the lighting and the composition is right without being distracted from the colors of everything, basically. So, like, in my head, I think someone else agreed with me on this previously, that if you can make it look good in black and white, it can look good in color as well. Like, it will automatically just look better in color if you can make it look good in black and white. But I think, yeah, that's as far as I'm going to take this one, and I will send all these back to everyone. Interesting use of black and white button. I've never used that before. I think, yeah, it's one of those things that I saw in a photography group. I'm not a promoter of photography groups, as anyone knows, but it came up on my feed, and I'm like, I wasn't even in the group. It just came up that someone was set their camera so that the screen was only showing them black and white. So it meant that when they were taking pictures, it had to be good. And like, it meant they had to get the composition right, and they had to get the lighting right and everything right. And if they didn't get it right in black and white, when they got home and switched it back to color, it looked terrible. But I think it's one of those things. I think a lot of people recently, especially since the introduction of presets going for sale for people really do lean on oversaturated colors and stuff like that. How many are in the queue? We've done 2 out of 23. I can't guarantee I'm going to get through all of them. I'm just going to chip away basically until 12 o'clock. So yeah, I think that's as far as I'm going to take that one, and I will send it back to you, don't worry. So we're going to have a look where else we've got. Oh, we've done 3, sorry. Let's see where else we've got. I like that one. Okay, we're going to do that. The question is how... Okay. Now, I will be honest, I am doing all of these live, and like I said, I've not actually looked at these prior. I am literally like, this is literally the first time I've seen all of these. That's my one. There we are. Happy days, Sean. Happy days. Right, black and white. Oh no, I'm not. What I'm going to do is try my preset out, because this is a RAW, so this should work a bit better on this. There we are. So that's actually the look that preset I have has on RAWs, and I do quite like how that's looking. So let's switch to black and white and see what we can do. Also, if people want to switch between composition modes on Lightroom, it's O. You sell presets? No, I don't, mate. I literally have one. Like, I have there's obviously a few on screen, but these are all from like previous shoots. I don't sell them, to be honest with you. Here's the rule of thirds one. Let's skip it. feel like it's one of those things, like I feel like there's a lot of people in the market already doing this. I'm not really sure I can add anything to it, to be honest. But this was just maybe do we just lean in on that, perhaps? I don't know, you tell me, do we just send it on the angle there? I don't know, I think I'm cutting off the front of the car there. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. Let's give it a bit more breathing room. This is a really good photo, to be fair, though. I quite like the lean on that a little bit. I have too many. Yeah, I just like, I make a load of them and then I just keep them. I have one preset. If I'm wearing presets, not always going to involve. It all depends on specific photo. Yeah, look, I think there's a big misconception regarding presets, to be honest. And that's one of the reasons I don't really want to go into that market. Maybe I will down the line, but right now I just don't think there's a big, I can't add much to it, if that makes sense. Because I think a lot of people think that you can buy a preset and it's going to automatically fix your bad lighting and your bad composition. Like, it's just not. So we're going to add some mask into this to try and draw some more attention into the car. Probably going to go quite heavy on that mask. Now, clearly that side of the image is where the light source is coming from. So we're just going to brighten up that a little bit, but I'll take the car out of it now. But yeah, I don't feel like I can add much to it, to be honest with you. I get ads 24/7 for presets. I think the retro ones are quite cool, to be fair, like the ones that look like the old film cameras and stuff. I kind of like those, but I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but give me a couple hours, I could probably figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you just sat down and actually studied these presets, you could probably figure them out fairly quickly. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of contrast in the car there just to pull it away from that background. I know I've just brightened it up, but didn't realize how much of a difference it is edited on PC as to a phone. Oh yeah, mate, honestly, like, the difference is night and day. Like, 1000%. 1000%. So we're going to throw a bit of contrast into the car just to help it stand out. Do you know how long I have to wait for my photo? I can't even guarantee I'm going to get onto your photo, mate. Like I said, I'm picking these at random unless people start. We've agreed that the gift that people have to leave, and I haven't agreed. The chat has agreed that if you leave a Galaxy, then you're next in the queue. But if not, then it's just going to be totally random. Okay, so, and another thing on Lightroom Classic, I don't know if you can do this in mobile, is if you press J, it'll show you when you're, like, when things have gone too far. So like if I just dump the shadows now, it'll probably, oh no, I didn't do it then. Okay. I'm really bad at showing this example. Okay, I quite like that. Okay. This is a really good picture, by the way. Like, this is genuinely a really, like, you've got that so sharp. Like, look at that. Look at that. Fair play, Sean. This is good. Okay. Don't think I want to do anything else to this just yet. I think in terms of what I was going to do in the black and white thing, that is all I'm going to do. Thank you. I wish I shot it a little wider though. It's a bit tight for my liking. Well, to be fair though, I have done that. Like if you go back to the full image, it is actually, you've got a good amount of breathing space on there. I'm just kind of leaning in on this angle thing because I'm just a yob and I kind of like the angle, especially for like dynamic stuff as well, for like drift days and things like that. But if we say we were in Photoshop, I'd even be as brave to use the generative fill on Photoshop just to widen it out a bit, perhaps. But I quite like this. I like what you've done with it. I wouldn't change it. But yeah, if I can, so for example now, like this looks good in black and white, in my opinion. So if we switch out of black and white, there we are. I think that to me instantly just looks a lot better. So I'm going to just make some adjustments to the masks and just drop some clarity out of that, I think. Just on that left side mask. But no, I think this is genuinely like a seriously good image. I think I may perhaps bring the reds up a touch just because the calipers are red and you've obviously got the red seat and the red detail in there. And the one thing I will say when it comes to like doing these drift days and like events and stuff, you do want to, as much as you want to color grade, you do kind of need to keep the colors correct. So for example, that blue there is coming out somewhat, obviously previously, like it's somewhat purplish. So I think we may need to change the hue on that blue a little bit. That's just my preset though. That's what that has done. So I'm just gonna, yeah, that's the one. Just bring it back up a little bit, just to keep it accurate to the color that the car is, just so it looks right, to be honest with you. But to be fair, Sean, out of the box, this was like pretty spot on. You know what I mean? Like there's not much. We've not done a ton to this. We've just pop the preset on, which to be fair, you could have used any preset, you know what I mean? Lightroom has some really good ones. You could have whacked any color grade on it, and I think this would have looked good. You know what I mean? It looked decent in black and white as well, so there's not actually much I do to that. But like, yeah, you've got that really, really good. Let's have a look. It could have been that my tinting camera making it purple for some reason does that. Yeah, that could just be the colors, to be honest. But I mean, it's a nice deep blue, isn't it, to be fair? So, but no, to be fair, mate, you've got this spot on. This was such a good shot. Right. I don't think there's anything else I can do to that, to be fair. Even, yeah, literally, even the UBC caliper in the logo is, if we want to be critical and we went like right in, there's a tiny little bit of shake on it, but even then that could arguably be someone else. Oh, my chat is doing something. Oh, someone's sent Galaxy. Right, who's this? We'll get onto yours next. Tuxed. Thank you, man. No worries, mate. Not a problem. I'll get that over to you next. Right, Mr. Tuxed, you sent the Galaxy. Thank you very, very much. Which picture is yours and how have you sent it to me? Let's have a look. Did you send it earlier or have you like just sent it? Let me just double check the email. Oh, right, okay. I've emailed you 3 images. Okay, bear with. Let me just go get them. Let me go get them. Where's my email? I've emailed you 3 images. When did you email them? Like literally just now? Or like, I've got one from 15 minutes ago with, oh no, what's going on here? What did you send? Yeah, did you email them? One's an NSX, F80 M3 and E36 drift car. I've not had nothing. Let's get this sorted out because I've not had anything come through. Let me check nothing's gone into spam. Am I on the right inbox? Have they definitely sent? Because nothing's come through on that. Nothing's come through on that email. Double check double check that it's actually sent. It's not like still loading or something because nothing's come through. I don't need that anymore. It's telling me email not. Send it to my other one. Send it to my business email if that was not playing ball. No one else use this email. If you do, I will just block you. So if you send it to that one, I've just put in the chat. That's my business email. Just send it to that. I know 1,000,000,000% that's working because I was actually emailing someone this morning. That email is publicly available before anyone thinks I've given away secret emails. I haven't. Obviously, you know, send it to the email I've just popped in the chat. That's my public business email. So send them to that and we will get on it. I know that's working for a fact. It might just be not liking it perhaps because it's a new email maybe, but give us a shout when you've done it and we'll get that over the line. There we go. Right, we got it. We got him. Let me get these downloaded. Okay. Right, I've got those. Let me just import these bad boys. Okay. Definitely writing the email on the wall. The next public bathroom. Do it, mate. Get some more traffic in. Do it. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, let me just close that. Okie dokie. Right. So got drift photo, NSX. Well, we just did the drift photo, so I think we'll do another one. Let's do another one. Unless you have a preference. If not, I'll get cracking with this one. We definitely no. All right. Righty-ho. To be fair, this is a good shot, to be fair. It's a very good shot. I'll say the 36 looks like another 3, yeah, 100%. Right, preset. Whack that bad boy on, and then let's jump into black and white. I'm gonna put this in 4x5 because I'm gonna assume this is for Instagram. Now, when I say like use the rule of thirds thing, this is what I mean. So like, if I wanted to be like, that actually looks quite good like that. If I wanted to be like mega artistic about it, I would put that there. So it's up in the top third. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually looking at that. Or I'd put it down there like that so that it's on this line here. You know, both actually look pretty good. This is a good shot. If I wanted to be like artistic and like cinematic about it, that's where I would put it. But I don't know actually. I'd put it there. I think if we make it a bit bigger so the car's a little bit. Actually, no, I'll lie. See, I'm torn. All right, what do you guys reckon? I'm gonna get your opinion on this. Top third or bottom third? So up in this top third or in the bottom third? It's tricky. I'm leaning towards this. At the car on the bottom third, but I'd remove the bail at the corner. Yeah. I like this because it's foreground. And then bottom third, yeah. Let's have like a bottom third. And then get rid of the bails in the bottom corner. All right, we'll go with that. Let's run with that. Let's run with bottom third. So okay, so first things first, let's get rid of these. Let's get these out. Good old generative fill there. Whack those bad boys on there. Get rid of that. And for anyone who's new joining, who hasn't been kind of keeping up with what I do, I like, it's done a hell of a job actually. Nah, top third was the ticket. It's one of them, isn't it? It's really like, I think top third was very kind of cinematic, kind of artsy, but so yeah, like I say with all of these, if I can get them to look good in black and white, and I think this applies for a lot of things, a lot of other people's photos, if you can get it to look good in black and white, you'd be very surprised like how well it will look later on by when it's back in color. So dropping a mask on the bottom there just to draw a somewhat obvious mask as well, just to pull a bit of attention towards the car. And then I want a bit more contrast in this, I think. It's a very nice kind of contrasted image because of all the smoke. It really helps pull the car out. So we can be a bit brave really in terms of the masking on the car. So I'm going to whack a bit more contrast on that as well. Only a touch though, just to kind of help it out. And then I might not do anything with the top mask actually. We'll try it just to try and draw a little bit more attention into the car, and then okay, drop the texture and clarity out because that's just me. I think black and white suits it. Yeah. Well, this is like the thing in my head is that if I can get it to look good in black and white, when I switch it back to color, you've got the option. Like when you're editing, then if you think like, okay, that's better in black and white, but no, I know what you mean. This is genuinely like actually really good in black and white because it is a good shot. Okay, so I'm gonna try and see if we can bring a bit of detail up in these areas here, just to kind of just see how that looks. I'm not gonna just bump the shadows up as such because I don't think that's gonna work. I think overall it's not gonna look ideal. Sorry, that my drawing skills there were horrendous. So we're just gonna bring up some details here and that there because I love those vents. I think they're cool. Okay, so let's do this as well, just to bring up some details basically in the front. Yeah, only like nothing major. And then I think it'd be good to bring up that tire there. So let's do another select object. And you will find this when you're doing a lot of editing and stuff, like you will have to like selectively pick things to bring up. There you go. Again, nothing like crazy, just like a little touch. What watch you wearing? It's just a Casio. It's nothing fancy. I think it was like $44.99. Oh my god, this jumper is an old one, so the sleeves don't quite fit properly. So it looks like I'm trying to show my watch off, but in reality, I've got long arms, so the jumper doesn't fit properly. Okay, so I'm gonna try and bring the whites up a little bit just to really like emphasize that smoke. Okay, right. So I think as far as there's a little speck on there that's bugging me. So I think as far as like editing goes in the black and white, that is probably all I'm gonna do. So like we were saying earlier, now that I've got this looking good in black and white, I know as soon as I switch it back to color, it's gonna look good. And if I want to use it in black and white when I export it or whatever, I can, and it's gonna look good it'll look good. So my black and white trick it's not my trick, but you know, I think I'm gonna make another stylized choice here to pull saturation out of the blue again. I'm not gonna just tip the color temperature up to yellow because I don't think that's gonna work and I don't think it's gonna look right. So the problem is, like if you look where all the blue is, so now I think, yeah, look, if we pull that blue out, it really helps the color in, and I think it's gonna be the same with the aqua. I think maybe it's not gonna be the green. No, it's not gonna be the green. I'm definitely gonna desaturate the green just so it's not so eye grabbing. So that's what we started with, and that's where we're at. Could maybe do with a little bit of shadows coming up a tiny bit. I don't normally like going back to this once I've done the black and white, but no, this is a good shot, to be fair. Maybe I'm just gonna try something. This might not make the final thing, but I'm just gonna try. Just gonna see how this looks. Why is this being a pain? I'm just gonna put a mask behind the car and in the thick of the smoke to almost like make the smoke look a bit denser and to try and make that car pop even more. This might not work. Okay, that works. I like that. So that was just a little thing just to try and maybe feather it a bit more. Just to try and make, okay, is it max feathering? Just to thicken up the smoke and make the car kind of stand out a little bit more. But I'll be honest, I think the other thing I will do is add a bit more texture to it because like these drift shots suit the kind of the gritty texture and style. I'm gonna add a little bit of clarity and texture and then just go. And one thing I will say about looks like Photoshop. No, this is Lightroom Classic. So one thing I will say, and this is something that everyone misses, and I've said it a couple of times already, I'm going to say it again. Lightroom, when you import pictures, there's probably a way to change it, but it automatically adds sharpening. But this sharpening tool is something worth looking at. I know you've got AID noise and everything, but so it automatically adds sharpening globally across the entire image, which is why sometimes when you add things in, when you put JPEGs into Lightroom, they tend to look a bit crap. So that's because of this global sharpening thing. So the way to go around that is masking. So you can mask the sharpening basically and pick how much sharpening you want and almost where you want it. So the way to do that is use this masking tab, hold Option on Mac. I don't know what it is on Windows, I'm sorry. And then as you start sliding it, so basically everything in white was everything it was sharpening. So as you can see, look, it was basically sharpening the entire image, which is what was making it look grainy. So work your way up, and you basically only want it to sharpen the edges, which in this case is 100. So instantly, look, a lot of the grain has just gone that was there. So if we just turn this off, like it's very subtle. So if I go on there, look, it's very subtle, but it does make a difference. So again, I have very much over zoomed on this, but I'd rather have like the worst case possible. So let's go through the sharpening tools, but definitely hold that option key and have a mess about with the sharpening tools, because you'll be very surprised how much a lot of like the auto things can somewhat not ruin it, but can definitely have an influence on the final image. And if you're getting frustrated with like, if you're getting frustrated with the quality of the things are coming through at, sometimes it can literally just be down to that. Okay, so we are essentially now fighting the sharpening, the noise reduction, but you know, I think that looks a lot better than it did. Okay, I think that is probably where we're at with that. I think I don't really think I don't really want to do any more. I think to me, my eye is attracted to the right part of the image. You know, it's the smoke is kind of leading lines into the car there. Obviously all the tire marks, the people as well. Normally I would like edit the people out, but because they obviously are at the event and part of it, it works. Just brought up some details, and yeah, I think the only thing that bugs me about this crop now looking at it is that Drift Games sign is not in it. So maybe, I don't know if making this bigger is going to work, and even, yeah, maybe just centering the car, but then I don't know. To me, that doesn't work because now all of this is really distracting. But like, I know from like a corporate point of view, they'd want that Drift Games logo in. So I would go back to, I'm going to go back to that. To be honest, I think that looks a lot better. No, I just generally remove the Drift. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best option on this crop, is just to get rid of that Drift Game sign. You are absolutely right. So let's just do that. I know normally I wouldn't say like remove the company logos and stuff from it, but in this case, because it's cut off, I think it's probably, they'd probably appreciate it as well. But, oh, thank you very much, Jazz Mark 6. Sending through the little galaxies. Ooh. We'll jump on yours next. I think I've definitely got yours. But yeah, that's what I would do with that. I think that yeah, if that was my shot, that is what I would do with that. I will send this back to you, don't worry. All the ones I edit tonight, I'll send back this morning. I will send back to everyone. And yeah, knock yourself out. Feel free to use them. But yeah, that's what I would do with that. I hope you're happy with that. But yeah, I think anything more now would be overkill. Definitely have you got a polarizer? I think you need to get a polarizer on that front there. Because that would have brought in, if you had a polarizer on the front, I can't use my buttons, you would have like kept a lot more color in that black bonnet. Other than that, this is genuinely like a really good shot. What lens do you use for this? 146mm. I'm guessing that's like a 70 to 200 you've got. That's cool, to be fair. Could you make a tutorial on your page on how to edit photography? It's something I'm going to do down the line, but this live will go out on YouTube as it is. So if you do want to watch anything back, you can. But yeah, that's why I would do that image, and I will get this sent back to you after the live. And we're going to jump on to Jazz Marks's image, because I've got about half an hour left before I'm going to scooch. But yeah, I'll get this back to you, and thank you for sending this in. I do appreciate it. I had a polarizer on, but fair enough. Good shot though. Really, really good shot. Is it have you got the f4 or the f2.8? I'm keen to hear I want a 70 to 200, so I'm quite keen to hear what the opinions are of it. But yeah, I'll get this back to you, mate. I appreciate you sending that in. I appreciate the gift. That's a good little shot. Right, Jazz Mark 6. Is this yours? Or am I making things up? Appreciate you going f4. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm quite keen to, I want to use the f4. Because like, I'll be honest, I feel like a 200mm or anything past like 100mm, you're not going to notice the difference with 2.8. That's one of the two I sent. Okay, let me see which ones you sent. Let me see which ones you sent. Which one do you want me to do? Oh, I didn't see the second one. Second one's quite nice, actually. Which one? I think more could be done with this. I like the second one, but I think this. Oh, actually, I don't know. Now I'm looking at it. Let me see what's the quality come through like on that. I'm going to do the second one. I think a better result will come from the second one. Oh, what have I done? Let me just grab this. Talk amongst yourselves. That was all my stepdad stuff swapped in with my pushback. I mean, mate, phase. You do what you got to do. Like, if it works, then fair play. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, I think we'll do this one. I think a better result can come from this one. I do like this though. What light? Is that like your phone light? Done quite a good job there. Right. Just gonna slap a preset on it and close it down. That first one was my attempt at a night shot on this camera. Yeah, it was my phone. I mean, to be fair, like for a phone light, it hasn't done too bad. That is, again, I've got a lot of things rattling around in this very empty head of mine. I will be looking at doing, I said this like last year, like a budget light painting thing. I'm just really struggling to find an app on for iPhones that allows you full manual control. Oh, I don't want iPhone mirroring, but you know. So I'm trying to find, I want to find something that I can take photos on my iPhone, but like run long exposures and stuff. But I just can't seem to find one that actually lets me control that. Right, this is a RAW, which means my preset will somewhat work. The only problem you've got, right, when it comes to iPhone not of Pro mode, no, it's like an 11. I probably should just get a new iPhone. Okay, so yeah, preset, my preset on that I like, and straight into black and white. Now, composition-wise, I am going to do something. 4:5, nice for Instagram, and I'm going to literally just crop down to here because that car is slightly annoying. I know we're cutting the plate out a little bit. Maybe if I do that, and maybe tip it a little bit. Okay, maybe we'll change that afterwards. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do with that. Right, and this is the beauty of the black and white mode, is it does show how much a lot of the color up here is kind of gone. So let's drop that down. I think the really difficult thing we're going to run into with this is trying to bring back some color on the car. And the issue you've got there is shooting into the sun, essentially. That's what it does. It kind of does tend to wash a lot of color out with like glare, basically. So if we go back to color mode now, like you can see a lot of the colors are kind of getting lost there. But we'll see what we can do about that. So this is why I picked this one. Is I think that this basically will almost not disprove my black and white theory, but it will like give a bit of an argument against it. Like I'm not just going to preach that to everyone, because shooting into the sun does create a lot of color issues almost. Okay, I'm going to bring this. Okay, I'm going to. You know, yeah, as I was saying, I think they're going to have to come out of black and white mode on this because the sun is quite distracting. I know as I'm doing this, I'm going to cause problems. So this goes against everything I was saying earlier, but you know, okay. So let's select subject. So this is going to be like, this is a tricky one, to be honest, because the sun is right there and that is obviously very kind of powerful in this. It's very early on having this camera, I didn't have a CPL, yeah. It's one of those things like you do kind of sometimes want to shoot into the sun almost, but not into the sun itself. But I feel like that's something you learn very quickly. So we're gonna, now bear with me, I'm not just bumping the shadows up. I think the trickiest part of this is going to be trying to retain any color in the car. See if we can, listen, this to be fair is why you shoot in RAW as well, because you can, okay. Yeah, this is going to take some brain power. It looks so good shooting in the sun, it takes away from, yeah, that's the issue you run into. And like, you'll see this on a lot of like my old photography with the Panda, is red really suffers for it. So I might have to bring this like right down into the blue to bring that, and then I can just change the purple there. But no, it's something you do learn pretty quickly. So this again is going to be one of those ones that's going to be very very selective in terms of what I'm going to edit and what I'm not going to edit. One sec, what's that buzzing about? Sorry, 1 second. Right. So yeah, I'm going to have to be quite selective in certain edits, I think, just to like, I want to bring the wheels up, obviously, because they're quite, obviously silver wheels do stand out a lot, which is really nice. So let's bring that one up. Oh, no, not that much. Only a tad. So maybe let's have a look at bringing highlights up. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of subtle edits in this. I only take photos in RAW on my 17 Pro Max. I need to try like the new iPhone. Maybe that could be a series. Look, see if I can take a decent photo on an iPhone. Probably can't. To be fair, I'm actually genuinely just a terrible photographer and I just rely on my gear. I'm joking. Okay, and then, right, let's have a look at changing that purple to match the blue on this, because basically if you look at it's the rays coming off the sun, the way the blue is sitting behind it. Why don't you remove some of the highlight spots on the car? I think if I start trying to remove these rays, I'm going to be here a while, like a long time. And I think when you've got rays going on up there as well, it's obvious that those rays are going to come down onto the car. I think it's just yeah. All the gear, no idea, 100%. It's mental how good the new phones are. Yeah, to be fair, like they are genuinely really, really good. I can't press buttons today. Yeah, like they are genuinely really, really good. And I'm not ever gonna shoot them down. They'll never, like, I think a lot of it is like, they'll never be as good as cameras, obviously. But so we're just looking to try and bring this purple going on just a little bit closer to the blue. I'm not looking to make I'm not trying to make it like drastically like blue, but I'm just trying to bring it just a little bit closer to it so it's not so distracting. So we're just gonna have a mess about with purple and magenta side of things. Just okay. It's not perfect and it's not gonna make a ton of it's not made a massive amount of difference, but it's definitely a bit closer than what it was. This one is actually quite challenging, to be fair. Maybe if I think I'm getting a new lens, but the 1850 models have a nifty 50. I'm thinking getting a lens, but what lens to go for. I think it depends, like if you feel like the 18 to 55 is long enough or wide enough. Like that's the joys of those telephoto lenses, style lenses, is they're quite versatile. So you can pick kind of what focal length works best for you. This one is tricky, to be fair. So So I think what we're going to do is just try to bring some details back down here. But this is tricky. It's definitely probably the most challenging one I've had. I just intersect that with subject. I think the wheels are looking uneven exposure-wise. Yeah, I do agree. So I may have a look at bringing up the front. So I'm just going to try and bring some detail back down here. And then, yeah, I think we'll brighten up that front wheel as well. Yeah, sitting a lot more even now. May just, so I know I can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see that these are starting to get a bit washed out from up in the exposure too much. May even be, see if dehazed. I don't want to use dehaze, but I don't think that's gonna, this is one of those ones where it's like, really are gonna have to pick your battles, if that makes sense, in terms of like what you're gonna try and save and not save. But no, this is a tricky one to get how I want, but we'll keep messing about with that purple a minute. Let's just go nuts with that. Okay, let's tip it down here. I personally suggest something like a 70 to 100 lens in that range. Yeah, 70 to 100 is definitely a very sought after lens. I'm glad I never attempted editing this. This is one of those ones where it's like, because it's not right in camera, like you've said, you've really got to pick your battle with it and just sort of take the lesson and be like, right, okay, next time that's what I've got to do. So it's quite, it's not subtle, but it's like subtle almost. You've got to just be a bit, yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do with this. Okay, you're still live. Yeah, I'm going to go until about 12 o'clock and then I'll switch off. But I don't think after that, this is probably going to be the last one we'll do. I don't think I can take any more on because this is frazzling my brain. It's a good shot. It's just that, yeah, I think you just took it a little bit early. So if the sun dropped to here, like here, it would have worked. Let me guess you have to get lunch. A lot of noise, yeah. What do you mean, let me guess you have to get lunch? Man's got to eat. Leave me alone. There's a lot of noise. Yeah, there is. I think that's because we've brought up some shadows and a fair bit of masking down here to bring some details in there. So maybe we will add a bit of contrast into that mask that's coming from that direction. Let's have a look. Do you suggest the Sony A6? I've not got much experience with Sony, but I would say as long as it's an improvement of what you've got now in some, as long as it's not a backward step in terms of like the sensor or the features or anything like that, then yeah, go for it. But yeah, but like you said though, like if it was an hour later, it'd been a better shot. But you don't know until you take these shots and try editing them. Do you find that out? Where's my Lightroom having a fit now? Okay, right. Okay, let's have a look at perhaps going back to, oh, whoa, okay. Let's go back towards the warmer side and just see how that's sitting. See if we can get like a golden out feel to. Why is my Lightroom doing this to me? Also, if I knew the camera better, I could have done more settings wise. This is one of those where I don't really think even settings would have saved you in this because you've shot into the sun. It's kind of, there's not a ton you can do about it. Like it's very much a lighting thing. But what do you shoot with? I use a Canon R6. This is definitely a challenging one, especially when my Lightroom has decided to pick now to start lagging. Okay, I think in terms of the car, there's not really much more that I can do. So I think now it's going to be a case of just leaning into some of the masking to draw attention into the car and go from there, I think. Yeah, no, car was a bit too underexposed. I think it's more, yeah, the rear of the car was definitely underexposed, but I think this is definitely a case of like, the sun is right there, like it's in the image. It's not necessarily behind the car backlighting it. It's in the image. Sorry, one sec. My partner has forgotten her keys. Okay, right. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things. It's one of those shots that realistically, like, yeah, it's a lesson to learn. This is, isn't it? It's not my best work, but I think I have some additional lighting. Yeah, that's an option. The problem is that the lighting's up here and not here. If it was even higher and like just out of the frame up there, it would have worked. It's because you shot into the sun, and like you said, it's a lesson. You know what I mean? It's something you learn, and I mean, let's have a look at what we can do here. Because I think something's sitting over the top of this that's not, in my opinion, is sitting right. Long time no see. Hello, mate. How are we? I think if I had some additional lighting, yeah, pretty solid result though. The old Mini is gone and we've upgraded. I feel like the Mini was probably the longest you'd ever had a car, mate. So yeah, if keeping it for that long would have been better if the taillight was on. Yeah, I think that would have been an option. I think just having like a light on there just to almost counteract the sun in terms of its contrast and brightness in the image. Would you say taking sunset photos, try to get the sun behind the car? I think so, yeah. Like it's obviously situation, like it can change every situation, but I mean, just have a mess about with the color grading side of things. just to see if I can make this look a little bit. So let's have a look. Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. I've got an M135. Mate, you're gonna kill yourself from an M135. Yeah, I think lights on would have helped. I think it would have just caused a bit. It would have been a bit of counterbalance for the sun. But I think if anything, just let this be a lesson in terms of like, don't be afraid to mess about with settings and try things. Just give things a go, and the worst, you can always just turn them off afterwards if it doesn't work. I had a shot with the sunset behind if it wasn't a massive drop. Yeah, I think then that even then, like the sunset would have washed the car out if it was this current lighting. Yeah, I'm just messing about now with this to try and see if there's anything that we can do to try and improve it a little bit. Just take a little win on this. I think that looks all right there. And then let's have a look and see. I mean I think that, but if we just desaturate a little bit. Do you know, I honestly think that is probably as good as it's gonna get. I don't really think there's much more we can do, I think actually taking some contrast out is pretty good. Black Mountains for you, there's a lot of, yeah, I know Black Mountains. I know. This is very much one of those, like, it's definitely the most difficult image that's come through, so I'm glad you've sent it through, because it does show you have just got to mess about with images sometimes and just keep trying things. But I think as a before and after, that is a somewhat solid result. Yeah, it's a tricky one, very, very tricky one. But I think, yeah, it's just the way it's shot. It's just, yeah, I think that's probably as good as it's going to get, really. You can't win them all, but yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's as good as it's going to get. But yeah, I'll get this back to you. That is tricky. That's very tricky. But no, thank you for sending that through. We've got 10 minutes, so maybe we'll see if we can pick something quickly. See if there's anything that will be a quick edit. I say quick edit, but I'll be honest, like, a lot of the photos that did come through have been pretty good. Which one's yours, mate? What, did you send it through earlier? Yes, which one? What car is it? I do know how much RF lenses are. Lambo's on the highway. Oh, the Forza one. Let's have a look. Let's do this quickly then. I've got about 10 minutes, so let's do this quickly. In the interest of fairness, we'll do a Forza one. Never edited a Forza image before, mine, so let's see how that looks. I mean, to be fair, the preset actually did a pretty good job on that then. What's all that? This is a weird... Okay, I'm going to just try and get rid of all of this because that's really weird. The texture, this puddle. There's a weird texture in that. And I see what you're going for. Like, I'm not mocking the image as such. I'm just trying to see I'm trying to figure out what it was. So let's bring some gradients in. Take the cars out. It's decent for no editing. Oh yeah, 100% for no editing. I haven't got anything bad to say about it. But yeah, we're gonna have a look at bringing some masking in. I'm quite interested to actually give this a go because I've never done like a game image. So we're just gonna do the usual masking just to make it clear the light source is here, and then let's bring these cars up to make them a bit more separate from the scene. So let's clear that that's the center of attention. Let's have a look at changing the crop out a bit to this. There you go. I think that's a better crop on that. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's try 16:9, which I think this is what this was shot in anyway, wasn't it? It was 16:9. Okay. Yeah, look, there's some really odd texturing going on down here. But I think that's just because of the just because it's a game, isn't it? I've never seen that before. Like I said, I've never edited a game one before, so it's a bit confusing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's the black and white. I think that's as good as that's going to look in black and white. But I can see an issue coming in actually. So bear with. We're just going to try and somewhat backlight the cars a little bit just to bring them out again, because I feel like I can see them getting washed in there. Okay, I think if we can get away with some shadow drop in there. I think the problem you can see here is that it's quite clear that there's a mask on the cars. So let's have a look at fixing that. I think the weird thing that's going on here is that the scene itself is quite yellow and there's no yellow on the cars. So that is going to be the next thing I'm going to just try. Just to warm the cars up a little bit, just to make them fit a bit better in the scene, which that I think does. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think that's as far as a game photo goes. I think the other problem you got is this side. It's like there's just too much reflections in it to make it kind of real, if that makes sense. So I think if we intersect that with a radial gradient on that side there. Oh, that's annoying. Let me just squeeze that in there. Let's just create just a bit more of a shadow on that side. And then if we duplicate that, Duplicate the radial gradient and just put it in there. So all I'm doing at the minute, I'm just looking to try and almost make it look a little bit more realistic. So just trying to, it's very minor. Actually, wait, that's not doing anything. I'm being silly. Why is that not doing, what have I done? Oh, I've made a mess of this. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to radial gradient them a little bit. Just to try and make a more realistic lighting situation. Well, I think that'll probably be it then. Okay. I think that's all right. I think as far as like an editing of a game picture goes, I think that's as good as it's going to get, really, isn't it? There's a weird white cast going on there, but I haven't desaturated anything, have I? No. No, that's in the image itself. But I think that's about as good as that's going to get. I've sent you a red Yaris. We're probably not going to get onto that this live, mate, unfortunately. I've got to shoot off in a minute, 2 minutes. So that may be another one, maybe the next live perhaps. But this one does seem to have done well and people have joined this a lot, which is good. But I think realistically that's as good as this one's going to get. But what I will do is anyone who I've edited pictures for, I'll send them back to them. And this will go up on YouTube so you can watch the whole thing back. And then, you know, if you see anything or I've said anything you want tips on or whatever, it'll be a good place for you to see it. But no, thank you for everyone who sent pictures in. What's your YouTube? Same name as this, at G360. I've done 7 images, which isn't bad. Yeah, definitely everyone go check out the YouTube channel. Go check out all my other platforms. I'm trying to get the YouTube up to 500 subscribers because at the moment it seems to be stalling at 420 odd. So yeah, if everyone could go check that out and drop me a subscribe on there, that'd be great. But I do post all the kind of main lives. So like I do a lot of weekly lives, but daily lives, but I do like at least once a week I'll do editing your photos or rating your photos or something like that, and they'll be the ones that I post up. But yeah, and don't forget to go check out the merch. I'm not just cupping my boob here. Check out the merch. I got hats and everything going on at the minute, and there's also like an exposure doesn't pay the bills design. So yeah, definitely go have a look at that, and don't forget to look at the Patreon too. You know, I got it all going on. Go check it out. Thank you for editing my photo. No problem, mate. Thank you for sending them in. Thank you for sending in RAWs as well. It makes things much easier for me. But yeah, I think we've done some good pictures here, a good variety as well, and some very, very challenging ones, thanks to some people. But no, it's been good. I think I might do this a bit more. I think it's a bit more, it's a little bit more kind of interactive, isn't it? I think I have exposure doesn't pay the bills and hat come in. Yes, and you bought the hats at the right time. I lost money on the hats because I priced them wrong. So you bought the hat at the right time. So I've literally just changed the price on them because someone else bought one and then I realized I was losing money on them because I priced them wrong. So you timed it very well. But yeah, if everyone could please go check that out, it'd be much appreciated. I got some other designs going on that will likely be put out towards payday. So obviously end of the month, I'll probably try and do try and do like another drop if that makes sense. And yeah, if you go check those out, go check out everything else, that'd be great. I think I was the first order. You were the first order on that Forza Horizon pick. It's a good pick, mate. Like at the end of the day, not everyone's got cameras to go out, and not everyone's got access to cars. So I'm not ever going to mock anyone for taking pictures on Forza Horizon. It's a good place to learn. It's a good place to learn lighting. The way the lighting reacts on there is actually pretty good. It seems like a video game. It is. This is a Forza game. Like I said, I'm absolutely not going to take any slander or mockery for anyone taking pictures in Forza. It's an incredibly good tool to learn, especially when the weather's been rubbish. And yeah, composition is a good way to learn composition and everything. So I will not accept any slander for that. Same way I don't accept slander for phone pictures or anything like that. I'm not here to mock anyone for what they're using. But no, I think we've had a very good selection of images come through, to be honest with you. Can Forza learn you something in photography? Absolutely, 1000%. You can learn a lot in these games because of how well built they are. You can very much learn a lot in those games on how to compose your images, how to learn how the lighting hits the cars, learn about angles, learn about as in angle to have the car, angle to have the camera. There's a lot to be learnt in those video games from a photography. Yeah, shutter speed too. Yeah, the effects of shutter speed. I want to say you could even change the aperture and stuff on them, can't you? I might try holding the crew up. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm not, like I said, I will not, absolutely not accept any slander for equipment or tools of use. I will only slander composition and poor editing and stuff like that. I'd rather be able to teach people transferable skills than anything else. And I'll be honest as well, the conversation I had with the magazine company recently, I'm not going to name them, this will all come out in some TikToks this week, have also actually like outright said, and I will read this out to you. And I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised by this. And I'm going to be smug because I've been preaching this from day one. They have outright said a good camera does not mean a good shot. That's directly from the magazine company. So they've said, we love film photography at, even if it's from a cheap disposable, and there are great ways to get amazing shots on iPhone. Really does depend on the photos themselves. Good camera does not mean a good shot. It's not from me. They were not coerced into saying that. So I think that says it all at the minute. Gear Matter and Dingo at the same time. Forza camera mode when you go into advanced mode is really good for learning how to use settings. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like I only had Forza for a very short amount of time. Like I'm not big into gaming, and yeah, gear matter and don't at the same time. There's times and places where gears matter. For 99% of hobbyists, it doesn't matter. If you're running a business and the images you provide are going to be like exploded up and, you know, done on a massive scale, it doesn't matter. Kind of subjective. I think for the vast majority of beginners, it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't. You know, I'm not saying this as someone who's gone straight in a mirrorless camera or anything. I'm talking from, you know, I used to have a Canon 600D with a kit lens. You know, it's not you. And I'll be honest, like there's some photos that I look back at and I'm like, okay, I did that. Like I'm quite surprised by. You know, there was photos from there that were featured on Renault's website, like, and they did not know that was the way what camera it was because I didn't tell them. You know, it's like it's subjective and it's very much down to the use case 100%. But I do think that, you know, you look at some of the greatest wildlife photographers and the greatest sport photographers in the world, and they're using like Canon 1Ds from 15 years ago. You know, and they just don't say anything because the kit works for them. So they don't say anything because it's not of concern to them. But that's because they have such a strong understanding of composition, lighting, aperture and everything. So I think that's far more important than any amount of gear you ever have. I think lens matters. Yeah, I think so too. I think lens is, yeah, your lens is very important. No, I'm hopping off in a minute. I'm just wrapping things up. My pic was taken with a Canon 55-200s. Yeah, see, I'm not going to lie, right? As Sean just said, this was with a Canon 55-250. It's a good lens. It's a long lens. It's good. And will not accept gear slander. Oh, are all the pics you've done? Yes, so we've managed to get through about 7. A few people kind of joined and dropped some gifts, so we were able to jump on their pictures quicker. Yeah, is your YouTube the same? Yeah, YouTube is at G360. But yeah, once I hop off, I will... Basically, what I do with the YouTube is... I basically just take this live, I just put like a blurred screen behind it, and I just chop out all my ums and ahs and the pauses and stuff, just to try and, just so it's dense basically with good stuff. But yeah, right. I hope we all enjoyed that, because like I feel like that was quite a good little session, to be fair. What camera would you recommend as a starter camera? I have a TikTok about this. Anything that lets you control manual. Have to include the camera, turn it off. I can't do that. I need to remember to chop that out. I need to get like a dummy battery that's like always on charge and taking power from the mains, because this one's about to go as well. Ooh, how do I get it edited? I'm going to be doing another live, so we're just coming to the end of this now. I'm just wrapping up. I'll be closing this up now, and I'll do another one. I think we'll do this again next time. But yeah, everyone whose photos I've edited, I will send them back to you edited. Feel free to use them as however you want. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it quits now. I think that was a good live. I think that was a good little session, to be fair. Yeah, I'll get these exported and I will But thank you everyone who joined. Thank you everyone for sending your pictures in, and appreciate all the gifts and everything. And yeah, 100%. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next live. Details for that will be on my TikTok soon. See you soon.